You are not a god. Good morning, and welcome to Coffee and the Word. One of my favorite lines from a movie comes from the movie Young Guns, and there's a scene where one of Billy the Kid's buddies is standing across from him, and he grabs his gun and he puts it to Billy the Kid's head, and he says, "You are not a god." And Billy the Kid responds and says, "Why don't you pull the trigger and find out?" And see, I think this is a problem that we run into quite frequently. Even those of us who proclaim to know God, who denominate ourselves as Christians, even those of us who have spent our entire life as believers, we sometimes forget that we're not God. And in the story of Job, there's a moment when God is questioning Job. It starts in chapter 38 and it goes all the way through chapter 41. And what God is asking Job is like, do you really understand all that I am and all that I do? Can you do any of the things that I can do? Can you cause the sun to rise and to set? Can you cause the moon to light up the sky? Can you cause all these wonderful things and mighty things to happen? The whole point is, during the entire discourse of Job, there is this questioning of God. Why would God allow this to happen to me? Why would God do this to me? And I hear this question quite frequently from believers. Why would God allow this to happen to me? And I'm not against us petitioning God. I'm not against us even asking God. But when we move into the arena of godness, and we move into the arena of pretending to be God by suggesting that we understand the mind of God, we're missing a lot. In fact, I love what God says to Job in chapter 40. Here's what he says: "Would you discredit my justice? Would you condemn me to justify yourself? Do you have an arm like God? And can your voice thunder like this? Then adorn yourself with glory and splendor and clothe yourself in honor and majesty." And I love what God is basically saying is, you are incapable of being me. And his ways are beyond our ability to fathom. God is doing things we can't understand, and he isn't going to check in with us. "Hey Dale, do you think I was thinking about this for you. Let's talk about my plans for you." What do you think about it? God isn't doing that. What God is doing is he is working all things together for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. What God is doing is he is continuing to sustain life. God is doing a mighty work. And it's terrible that too often we put ourselves in God and we blame God and we accuse God and we suggest that we understand the mind of God. It doesn't mean that we can't know God. We certainly can, but we cannot know the mind of God. I want to give you Job's response in chapter 42 because I think it's a powerful, powerful response and one that all of us should learn. Here's what he says: "I know that you can do all things. No purpose of yours can be thwarted. You ask, who is this that obscures my plans without knowledge? Surely I spoke of things I did not understand, things too wonderful for me to know. You said, listen now, and I will speak. I will question you, and you will answer me. My ears have heard you, but now my eyes have seen you. Therefore, I despise myself and repent in dust and ashes." And so essentially Job comes to this place where he realizes he can't be God. He is not a God. And he doesn't have the right to challenge God because he doesn't understand the things of God. Here's the final thing I want you to understand. Job says, "I no longer want to be that. I no longer want to pretend that. I understand that you are a God who is doing things I can't understand, things too wonderful for me to imagine. I can't adorn myself with splendor, and I can't put a fish hook in the Leviathan. I can't do these things. And I'll be honest with you, we could use a little bit of that humility in our world today. Too many of us have a godlike complex who believe that we can exact the kind of things, the works of God in and of ourselves, instead of being a part of the works of God. And so I want to encourage you today, as you go through today and as you go through your life, instead of accusing God, seek God. Instead of belittling God or mocking God, glorify God and worship God. Instead of asking people, why is God doing this to me? Approach the throne of grace of God with boldness and confidence and seek His counsel in all that you do. I promise it'll change your life if instead of you becoming the accuser of God, you become a servant of God. God bless you. Hope you have a wonderful day. This has been another edition of Coffee and the Word.